116. Still here, no couch, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, brush through that. Okay. We could just phase that out altogether. We don't have to say. Okay, so I had an opinion.
No.
Shut up. You
were about due to have one.
Okay, so one. If people don't have opinions, then who are you? Right? Like the whole point of experience of life is to have an opinion. What you do with it is a whole other, I think our podcast is what you do with it.
Yeah.
But having an opinion.
I mean, there's two schools of thought there. There's what you just described, and then there's, the difference, there's this very fuzzy line between having an opinion and then having some sort of desire or desired outcome.
Yeah,
type of thing.
No desired outcome.
So,
there's opinion. Yeah.
But the opinion is like inherently usually a judgment call. You have an opinion that
but we are still here, so it's okay.
You have an opinion that people should have opinions.
No, I heard something and I'm like, ooh, I think I know what he's trying to say, but at the same time, it could be very easily misinterpreted. And I do think it is misinterpreted. And one, I have no idea who this dude is. This was like a 30-second or 20-second reel on Instagram. And it was not something I followed. It was just suggested to me. But I heard it and I'm like, okay, so I will say what it is first. Okay, so he said that, he claims to be like someone. What's funny? What do you?
your preface of someone that I don't know and have never and can't find again said something. Here it is.
No, but then I had an opinion. That's the part that is important. I had a thought. I analyzed what he said, and I'm like, ooh, I can see where he's maybe coming from. So he claims to be like a starseed that can see like energies and vibrations from early on in his birth. And he's a grown man. He's probably older than I am. He's bald though, so it's hard to tell. So therefore, he's saying that right now, I saw this like a week ago. So, and I don't know when it was posted. So let's just say right now, this fake term, and this is going to be posted like 2 months from now. So just general term of right now. But
yeah,
anytime of right now is always now. That Earth is going through an vibratory ascension process, and souls are selecting which path to take. One, we're always selecting which path to take. And two, Earth is always going through some sort of process. So, to clarification. But he said that if you are right now within this awareness that you are choosing which path to take, it is really important to only tune in into positive vibrations, things that are of a higher vibratory frequency, just as love and gratitude and, I don't know, acceptance, oneness, all of the higher vibratory terms that bring your frequency higher, as opposed to tuning into the negative terms or negative things.
Right. Which in brushstrokes, I would agree with. In as much as if you can choose externally what to choose, you can go, oh, look, here's a whole bunch of positive things and that's great. Or I could go, oh, there's the poor and there's the homeless and there's the starving people and, not to pretend that there aren't people suffering, but there's a lot of negativity that you could easily invite into your life. Mm-hmm. And I don't think you should do that.
Yeah. So he's right on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So stay right. His point is don't go diving into negativity, or like if negativity comes, choose to an ascended way of thinking. Right.
Yeah.
And I thought all of that was right. And then I thought, okay, but he is probably of a higher vibratory state of being, where for him it is lower to sink into a lower dimensional vibration, and then know how it is to be lost in it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So then I thought, even though he might be right from his standpoint and most people's standpoint of understanding this from the right standpoint, there's this whole other thing that happens, and you and I touched it, but I don't think we had an episode on it, and this is what I thought would be good. Something that's called spiritual bypassing is deep down, you're actually at the core triggered and vibrating as you baseline these lower vibratory fields, because you are unable to break that cycle. Now, I'm not saying by choice, quite literally because you're unable to break that cycle. But you know that it's unhealthy, but you pretty much can leave that space.
Mhm.
And like what you went through the last couple of days, the other topic that we contemplated in having a podcast on kind of fits into that, right?
Yeah.
It's a vibratory cycle that you stuck in. And yes, all of ideas, all thoughts, all of your desires want you to go, no, why can't I just be in love and light? Why can't I just tune into oneness? Why can't I just tune into gratitude? But deep down, I want to say there are conditions, human conditions, very normal conditions that will keep you in a lower frequency and almost have you stuck there. And you will kind of be at this path of like, I know I want happiness and I know I want light, but I don't know what to do.
Right.
And so to say that please just only think of love and light and go into the acceptance and not go into gratitude might work if you're not actively stuck in the progressive habitual nature of lower emotions that you're not addressing and processing.
Right.
And that's what we're talking about: pain body, trauma, shadow, really a broken child that is stuck in some cycle that really almost makes it impossible for an adult not to get dragged into and kind of be lost to the stuckness.
Yeah.
You just get lost in it. You almost, when you get into here, you don't even realize that you're in a lower vibratory state.
Yes.
So I wanted to address that. The spiritual community says is a spiritual bypassing. And I know a lot of people practice this. I know a lot of people I see on the streets who are in spiritual community who are like, oh no, I'm just going to tune into love and light and I'm going to ignore this. And that is what spiritual bypassing is. And I don't think it's vicious and I don't think it's malicious. I think it's just a fear of going to an uncomfortable space because you're not ready. But maybe this conversation is the benefits of spiritual awareness and then thus not bypassing.
Yeah.
And how to get ready for it or how to be aware of it.
Yeah.
Okay. That is my opinion. Yeah. So see, that opinion wasn't as bad as you thought it would be.
No, I agree with that opinion.
It was mostly cohesive.
I agree with that opinion. But everyone else who disagrees with it is wrong. Yeah, I mean, that's it. It's, for me, most of the time, most things are, it's relatively easy to be in a positive state where, my outlook on life in the world is largely, if not completely, positive.
Positive, and then almost in an overview.
Yeah.
standpoint.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Well, there's that as well. We can get into that.
Yeah.
But there are times when I will get, I guess, triggered is the word. And what's really happening is that is poking some unresolved trauma issue, likely childhood trauma issue. And
I mean, likely that's the only issues
I don't
we
know if
have.
there's any other. I don't know if wartime PTSD is a different type of. It would be a different type of thing for a different person or not.
Interesting side note on that. So if you have wartime PTSD, the actuality of is the reason why you sign up for military service in order to be in the position where you would have wartime PTSD is because whatever the net deposited version of your childhood trauma was going to be completely equated and then resonated in the wartime PTSD. So even though it feels
as
very
like a cosmic cycle,
like as a spiritual path in this lifetime.
Yeah.
Actually, this lifetime, chances are, or I guess it could be a different lifetime. But yeah, you sign up for military service, which basically caused you to go into war, which caused you to have military PTSD. Because I say military, any PTSD, because deep down, your rooted trauma from childhood or past life, if you want to believe that, is actually in resonance with signing up for military service and experiencing that experience.
Okay.
It's actually a direct correlation. So it's the same story, just with a different flavor.
It's the same flavor. It's the same trauma, just now you get it again as an adult.
Through a different retrospect.
Yeah.
And you have kind of a possibility of resolving it because you now have a chance to work with your PTSD.
Right. Makes it, you're certainly more aware of it.
Yeah, but it's still the same flavor. Anyway, side note.
Yeah. So I don't know where I was going with that.
That all childhood. When you trigger it, it's childhood trauma.
Yeah. When you're triggered, it's just childhood trauma that is coming up, and it may be different circumstances, it may be different people, but it's poking that same issue. And I find it difficult sometimes to kind of snap out of it. It's frustratingly easy for me to just fall into some sort of doom spiral, and it's I feel like I'm the victim. I lock up. I don't know what to do, what to say. I bounce between poles of childish behavior of like 100% no to 100% yes, and when neither of those are really healthy adult choices. The real response is some middle path. But like I can't even find a middle path. I'm just so like, this makes me feel. This reminds me of any number of both childhood and even throughout my lifetime events where I felt scared or cheated or hurt or whatever, and so my default is to either screw you, I never want to talk to you again, which I'm not saying there aren't times where that makes sense. There are times where that makes sense. This was not necessarily one of them. To okay, I'll do it. I'll do whatever you want, just because that will make the path easy, and then I don't feel like I'm rocking the boat, and people will like me, even though whether or not that's true is beside the point. It feels like it. So I bounce between these poles.
Yeah, but the pole is just simply heavy not dealing with it.
The poles are not dealing with it.
The one pole of screw you, I don't want to interact with you.
That's running away.
He's actually running away.
Right. And the other pole is what I've, done my whole life of just, okay, I'll just do it because I don't have a voice.
In both of those situations, you don't have a voice.
Yeah.
And you don't have a conversation, and you don't have any normal adult interaction to where you.
Through some sort of, when I can catch that and go, oh, look at what's happening. Okay, let's take a breath. Let's, there's no need to reply 2 seconds after I get it. There's this can wait, and I can sit with it, and I can feel it, and then I can use my prefrontal cortex thinky brain, and we can come up with an adult response. That's the way through. But probably the most important part of that is the feeling it, right? I don't know if we just switched topics here.
No, you can go.
Like when something happens that triggers me, my go-to is to resolve it as quickly and efficiently as possible. So when I meditated and on this issue, like I had a hard time even feeling it, because I was sitting there, I'm like, okay, I need to feel where this is hitting, and I would go into, yeah, well, if I can just say this and this and this, and I can make these points, and no, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to feel it, and I would just keep getting distracted into trying to solve the current moment acute issue, which is just a reflection, a instance, a trigger for the deep-rooted actual issue, right? If I do that, would I feel better? Yes, but that just kicks it down the road to the next time this happens. That doesn't really fix anything. That Band-Aid's over. Okay, well, today's problem, okay, we can put a Band-Aid on that, and we don't have to look at that anymore. But next time it happens, well, I'm right back at the same point. There's no progress in that. But I do find it really difficult to sit there and feel it. I had to really just keep bringing my attention back to that over and over and over for a good while.
Why is it scary to feel it?
I think I know because I've trained myself that I can fix this and make it go away. And that is easy. That is much easier than feeling it. So I have a solution, right? I've perfected this solution throughout my life. I can fix this. I can make it go away. Why would I not do that? Why would I sit here and feel discomfort? Right? And that doesn't apply to every situation. Some situations it's really easy just to sit there and feel it. But when there's a solution, an obvious solution, and I will just sit there like, ruminating on how to it is like a flow chart of, okay, well, if I say this, then, response could be A or B. And if it's A, it's okay. If it's B, then my new response will be, I'll just left to my own, instincts. I find myself doing that, and I have to deliberately catch it and go, no. I can solve this later. But if I solve it, I know that if I solve it, I won't feel it. If I solve it, it's not triggering anymore. And it will be really, really hard for me to go back and go, well, what did I feel like? That just isn't going to work. If I'm going to feel it, I need to feel it before I've solved it. So I try to deliberately not solve things.
There's no such thing as solving it, though.
It's not so. Address the acute today issue.
Yeah, but right. Think about this. And truth is, if you are triggered and you're experiencing something that is if it's a real situation in the real world and it's happening, the only reason that situation is happening is because you have unprocessed trigger.
Right.
So in order for you to address the situation, you can't even address the situation until you address the trigger. Because otherwise, you're just fumbling from the same point that created the situation. So
true.
So even responding to, as simple as responding to that email from before, when you actually realize what this situation is the wrong thing to do. And I say wrong because in the long run, you will just be feeding it the exact energy that caused it to be there in the first place.
I mean, there's that as well. I mean,
there's only that.
I think there's two things. From a practical standpoint, if I fire off of an email immediately in full on triggered mode, I'm not going to. It will not be a productive adult response for the situation itself. A, for the 3D have to get work done, pay the bill situation, it is probably counterproductive. A. B, if I fire off an email, then I know that I will feel like I can move on from today's issue. I will internally feel like, okay, it has been handled, if not resolved, and I don't have to worry about it until it comes back.
Yeah, but all of those things are just lacks of responsibility into awareness.
I know, and that's why I mean, not just with this, but in general, try to not maybe address the situation, to solve the situation, to send the email, to do whatever until I've felt it. I'm trying to do that more because I know it's the wrong thing to do, and it's the wrong thing to do. And beyond that, I will not be able to feel it if I have this idea that it's resolved.
Yeah, but going back to like larger scopes of reality, and this is my point to you, is like you love to function in the deep weeds and roots of bullshit. Is if you go back to larger scopes of reality and just look at the arcs of your lifetime, you only have like 2 or 3 arcs that you're always going behind.
That's true.
Like there's no advanced degree in psychotherapy is necessary to tell you the 3 things that you're always doing the same thing with.
Yeah.
Like we have addressed those and addressed those and addressed those. So the tendency then, this is what it comes down to, and I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. what it comes down to is the desire to face the uncomfortable and the
Yeah.
willingness to face the uncomfortable
Yeah.
as opposed to running away from it.
Right.
But in order to face the uncomfortable, you have to be willing to feel the fact that you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So if you're choosing not to even allow yourself to feel that I'm uncomfortable, that's what spiritual bypassing is. You're so triggered, and you don't even have an awareness to know that you're triggered. That is
Right.
the lowest form of blindness. Right? So when somebody says, oh, love and light, the idea of love and light doesn't even exist if you're triggered and you're currently drowning
Right. No,
in bullshit.
Yes.
Like, right, if you're 20 feet below the water and you're like literally swimming in the muck, there's no light. It's all darkness. Right? So you have to differentiate this idea. You have to know what a baseline feels like, a comfortable baseline where you are expanded, your heart is expanded, your system is expanded, the prana is flowing. And then the second you go out of it, you have to be willing to take the responsibility to go, wait, this feels different than the baseline of gratitude or light or acceptance or oneness.
Yeah.
And then in your case, which one of the three fucked up things am I holding on to once again in order to sink myself back down into lower vibratory frequency?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's responsibility.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But you could say that you want responsibility, but here's the override. In your case, and I said this to you, but I'll repeat it on the podcast maybe because it's beneficial for other people. If you want to be responsible, like if deep down you say, but I want to be responsible and I don't want to be repeating the same cycles over and again. And I don't want to be blind to the triggers. And I don't want to just all of a sudden be in the good state and something happens and I get triggered and I don't even know and I'm back, swimming in the poop, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you want that, what causes you not to be able to hold a space of awareness is your nervous system gets overridden by the childhood trauma.
Yeah.
And then you're triggered.
Yeah.
But from the practical standpoint, that is simply your nervous system is not able to hold that much poking. Something is poking at you, something is triggering you, and you have not trained your nervous system to be solid enough to where you will not go into reactory mode and you actually step back and go, oh, look, I'm being triggered by the exact same three things again.
Yeah. Right.
So in that case, it is responsibility and the willingness to try to normalize and expand the functionality of your nervous system to where you are less likely to get triggered.
Yes. Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I see that and I agree. That it is.
And I'm not harping on you and telling you what you're doing wrong, but what I'm telling you is that is spiritual bypassing, right? To address things here and not address things here. And I know that's not your goal. Your goal is not to address. Your goal is actually to address, and you're struggling to address.
Yeah.
Well, with some people, the goal is not to address.
Yeah.
But outcome is the same.
Sure.
You triggered, you don't know that you actually are, and you're drowning back in the exact same resonance of your life pattern that has been the same for 40 years.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, I'm back to like the regular way I used to be.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, it nervous system override is literally exactly what happens. Yes. And yeah, I mean, it is just for very few core things. Yeah. What's really interesting to see is other things that are, even if they are those core things, maybe they're a lesser version, or maybe it's other triggers or emotional things that don't do that. To see where like ideally one can be for, I hope, all topics and issues.
Yeah, but the more time you spend being willing to admit to these deep-rooted triggers or like deep-rooted feelings that you're actually refusing to feel, or deep-rooted, what's the other way to put it? I will say childlike, not because I want it to be offensive, but because the formative idea behind thoughts came from your child interpretation.
I can see that my default response is very, very child. It's very, I'm going to take my ball and go home. It's not far off of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because that's easy, and it doesn't. I don't want to say that it solves it, but it feels like it solves the acute poke. Right. That this acute poke gets solved in air quotes. Gets band-aided over, and I get to run away from it and not look at it anymore. And then everything's fine until it happens again, which it will, because it's going to keep happening, probably with increased frequency and intensity, until you actually deal with the core issue. But it has been my go-to for my whole life to band-aid over the current issue with whatever that looks like. Run away, or just do it, or ignore it, or whatever, any sort of avoidance technique. And then everything's fine until it's not.
Yeah.
Right. There's no, we have these fantastic thinky brains to actually solve problems and come up with solutions and all that stuff. And it is just unused at this time. It's really interesting because I can, to some degree, step back and observe here, like, oh, look at that. I'm just absolutely flipping out, and I can't think clearly. I literally can't think clearly. And I'm just on some sort of autopilot, some sort of, very bizarre malfunctioning autopilot. And it's just
and the nervous system shut down.
It's a short circuit. But I'm at the same time, I'm watching it happening going, wow, look at this. Give me some more popcorn. This is going to be a fun shit show to watch, isn't it? Type of thing. And I still feel somehow powerless to do anything different until I can, breathe a bit and sitting down and trying to feel where that's really poking. It's like, okay, yes, this happened, and yes, I know that goes down to unsafe. Connect those dots. See that path. That really helps. That's like the best thing that anybody can do. And you get to feel, oh my gosh, I feel unsafe because whatever that tree is. But you really feel it.
Yeah, but think about this. Like we have the idea of a brain, and then we have idea of consciousness. So the observer who's like having popcorn and watching the shit show is almost like your higher self.
Yeah.
Looking at this idea of how your human form is handling this experience, right? So that is outside of your body.
It feels very much that way.
Yeah. The brain is shut off for the most part, or like the logical part, because this is not logical.
No,
Logic has left long time ago.
It feels like a limbic system response. It's like I'm being chased by a saber-toothed tiger in the wilds of Africa. I don't know where saber-toothed tigers were. And right, it's just fight or flight. There's no.
Yeah, but in actuality, I don't know. I guess this is a Bruce Lipton territory, but the limbic system response, however it is functioning, from the energetic standpoint, you're actually in your stomach area, in your bottom 3 chakras, firing up the density that is stuck from your childhood. And that is where the trapping is. The entire trapping of this, like, okay, the conscious higher self is watching this as a shit show. Cognitive thought is gone. Heart is like, might as well not exist at this point, right? And the only thing you're doing is trying to protect your system from more overload, more nervous system overload, right?
Yeah.
So it's either you're running or you're just bending over backwards and saying yes to everything that anybody asks for. But all that is the trapping of your child within the bottom 3 chakras. And I don't know if it registers or not, but one of the easiest ways to address that would be, this is unsafe. The child within me feels unsafe. And I can tell you it is in the 3 bottom chakras. That is where this unsafety is trapped.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to open those 3 chakras. Like quite literally go, okay, look, I'm triggered. I have nowhere to go. The nervous system is overriding. What the fuck is happening? And instead of responding, sit there and start breathing into the bottom 3 chakras. I mean, give your lungs breath, give your heart breath, yes, but start breathing into your root and into your sacrum and into your solar plexus and start expanding those centers, right? And at the same time, be willing to face the pain that the child is feeling in that moment.
Yeah.
Because when that, like, if you look back, when that was happening, what was happening to the lower 3 portions of your chakras, to the lower 3 chakras? Can you look back then or not?
I was literally constipated.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but that's a physical expression of it, right? Yeah. Your organs are not even functioning. It's a complete lock, right? But if you start consciously realizing, oh fuck, this is like, I don't know, like shit has hit the fan and I am drowning and I don't even know where to go. Because all like, if the nervous system is an overload, like you almost don't even know where to go. But that would be the easiest way to solve it. I mean, I know I keep on harping with yoga and Kundalini, but everybody seems to hate me for that. So I'll just stop. But yes, Kundalini, specific version of Kundalini, meditative Kundalini, not like crazy Kundalini. But crazy Kundalini might work too, but meditative Kundalini would be the most optimal solution, because it just like cuts straight through this nonsense of the lower 3 chakras and it just strips it all out. So it's like, I prefer that because, you know, I guess you said it, like I'm the nuclear, I always take the nuclear option. I'm like, I don't need the nonsense. I don't need the repeat. If I already identified as a nonsense once, let's just exterminate it out because it serves me no good. Right? Like I can be an observer to this nonsense, but I don't want to be drowning in the nonsense.
Yeah.
So that is the easiest and the quickest and the most optimal way to resolve the lower 3 chakras being stuck. And I guess you won't be able to put a link to those specific Kundalini practices on here just because they're subscription services. I can
link to them, but it's a Gaia link.
Okay, yeah. So like the ones that I'm talking to that I found extremely helpful are on Gaia. And they are by somebody who's controversial, who has since died, but through the Kundalini practice, who's controversial, who has since died too. So I don't know. I think all of that is nonsense and just more unprocessed trauma being dumped on the party or system. I mean, but the system works.
I mean, it's like Osho, who was also controversial and has since died, and all of the aforementioned people are clearly flawed in various ways, but that also does not necessarily mean that the teachings and practices
practices are
wrong.
Yeah. So link is in the bio if you wanted to subscribe to Gaia, and I think Gaia gives you like a 7-day free trial. But what I will say is, it hits so hard that everybody runs away. That's what Kundalini does. Is it hits you right there where your trapped child is screaming, and you don't realize that that's what's happening, except it's really uncomfortable and it's viscerally something that you don't like. And then because that's what you're like, oh, I don't like that at all. Like that made me feel terrible, because it's literally hitting the trapped energy of the locked child, and it's expanding your nervous system past this trapping. People just run away from it. Like I have talked to probably, I don't know. Well,
several people.
So I have given it to several people and they all run away from it.
Yeah.
Including you.
Yeah.
So anyway, you don't have to do that. So the milder version of that, I know you like to participate in mild. So the milder version of that is in the calm state, when your nervous system is firing up and you're just losing it, right? Pause. And then through breath, allow your bottom 3 chakras to start to open.
Yeah. No.
Actually go into the root and breathe into the root for 5 or 10 minutes. Actively go, I'm opening my root chakra. I'm allowing the trapped energy of a child to go, or distract energy, or I'm allowing myself to breathe into my root. You don't even have to identify what is it that you're trying to do. And then see what that does. See what that does to the system as you allow more breath into the root chakra.
Yeah.
And then go into the sacrum chakra and just basically say, I'm allowing this energy to expand my sacrum. And what you're doing is you're simply allowing lighter frequency. Breath is lighter frequency, right? But breath with intent carries a more potent version of lighter frequency. You're allowing lighter frequency come in something that has been locked, in your case, for 40-something years, right? And it's the lock that causes the nervous system to go into a haywire and short circuit, and then you don't even know what to do. There's not even a cognitive thought.
Right. No, I haven't done that with the intention, but I do know that when I get all worked up, I am really, really high, shallow breathing.
Because you're not going into the lower chakra.
If I pause and deliberately breathe, it moves. It starts. I start breathing from my stomach instead of the upper chest, which apparently is what you're supposed to do all along. Just in general, and that really helps snap me out of it.
Yeah, just an FYI, another snarky comment about your Kundalini avoidance. Kundalini forces you to breathe into your stomach. My breathing pattern has completely repatterned itself to my stomach.
When I was in high school, this was I think this was the same teacher who was not British, but pretended to be British. And she said, "Oh yeah, no, you're supposed to breathe up here." And so here's someone telling me this, so I assume.
Well, maybe instead of down here. Did she mean
No, I think she meant instead of in your tummy, you breathe into your chest.
Why?
And so
what was the thought process?
I don't know. I don't remember what the thought process was, but I'm like, okay. And so I had started about that time to breathe up here, and as a man, you don't want a bigger belly, but you do want a bigger chest, so that I'm like, oh, this makes sense. Yeah, that's right. Right. And so in some sort of vanity sense that or that worked out well too. But so from high school on, I have always breathed higher instead of lower. And then as we started watching more stuff on Gaia and more documentaries or whatever, it's like everything we've ever heard is no. That is the absolute wrong thing to do. That is constricting your, I don't know what, everything. Breathe lower. That is the more natural thing to do. That is healthier. That gets the, I don't know, whatever, flowing physically and energetically. Just the lower you can breathe, the better.
I mean, physically is just an expression of energetically. So yes, we could talk about physically, right? Your constipation is physical. It's a physical expression. Mm-hmm. But it's a physical expression of an energetic sequence.
Of course.
And the energetic sequence is the bottom 3 chakras are locked. One, because you're not breathing into it.
And I'm never constipated. And I'm like, this is so bizarre. This is so bizarre.
You and your poop conversations, I swear. Yeah. Right. But
I didn't even connect that till you started talking about the lower 2 chakras. So I'm like, huh. Right. I'm like, I need to have more fiber and more water. Which may also be true, but it is clearly in response to this. So clear.
No, I mean, again, we're 2 years in, but in physical expression, including all sickness, including all symptoms, including anything, is simply in energetic sequence expressing itself in a physical form because it wants you to draw light to its energetic stuckness.
Yeah.
That's it. Energy stuck, your higher self is trying to recalibrate. And the only way for you, if you're not addressing that spiritually, right? Like, oh, wait, look, there's like general thoughts of discomfort or general thoughts of anxiety or general thoughts of depression or general thoughts of nervous system override. If you're not addressing those from the spiritual standpoint of like, look, my system is just, I don't feel right? Then they simply flow into physical, and I hate to say it, by the time it gets into physical, it is much harder to address than if you were to just draw awareness to your energetic system.
Right.
But energetic system is your mental state of being, like how you feel, your emotions, right? So like your emotions will just tell you where the energy is.
Yeah, right. No, that's another good practice, to stop and feel where in your body that energetic or emotional thing is presenting, because it is. There's a tightness or a knot or something somewhere whenever something happens. There, for everybody there is.
Yeah.
Mine usually here, or here. Usually.
Yeah, but you're not being able to express your words from the higher chakra is simply expression of stuckness of the lower chakras.
Right.
And you're not being able to love
clear.
out of your heart is because there's still stuckness in the lower three chakras.
Yeah. No, they're all clearly very connected.
No, but the throat chakra and the heart chakra will never fix themselves and open themselves up properly until you release the stuck energy out of the lower three chakras. I mean, you can do all kinds of work and all kinds of love and light and all kinds of sound toning and breath work and all kinds of stuff, but none of it is going to actually stick and work if deep down your prana is not flowing all the way out or all the way, out of you down, able to pass through the lower three chakras and then come back up through the lower three chakras back up. Like, if that's not happening, nothing will work. Like, no sickness will ever cure itself if the system is just not even flowing.
Yeah. I mean, it is a complete system.
Yeah, but that's what spiritual bypassing is. Yeah, you can do all the energy work on your heart and you can heal it and you can do all kinds of stuff. And you can do all kinds of sound toning, and which I love sound toning, but like I'm pro all of those things. All kinds of things to open your throat and to find your voice and to sing and to do musical expressions and just to express, right? Opening up your third eye, opening up your crown. All of those are beautiful things, but none of them can actually have any lasting effects if the bottom three chakras are not being addressed through release of stuck energy there.
Yeah.
Which only happens from your childhood.
Yeah. I mean, you need like a holistic approach, WHOLE, the whole thing.
Yeah. But so yeah, if you have done work on the bottom three chakras and they are completely open and the system is completely flowing, and now you're kind of going and marrying yourself into the heart, the throat, and the third eye and the crown, that's fine. But then I would say by default at that point, there's nothing stopping you from vibrating at the higher vibratory frequencies of gratitude and acceptance and love and oneness. So it would almost be impossible for you to be stuck at any lower frequency.
Yeah. Right.
So like if somebody comes to you and they tell you some awesome story about, when I say awesome, I don't actually mean awesome, but
sarcastically awesome.
Yeah, sarcastically awesome story that is just drowning in lower frequency vibration, you won't be able to get stuck in it if the entire system is flowing. Yeah. So by default, then you're not spiritually bypassing because you see this lower vibratory field. You can be compassionate towards it and you can see it for what it is. You might even say something that will change this person's understanding of how they're viewing this story, maybe like give them a different perspective. But in no way will you be affected by it or need to dive into changing it, right?
Right.
You can have an opinion, but it is not an adamant action. There's no charge to it, right?
The charge is the...
So then by default, you're in a higher vibratory state. So when people say, oh, make sure you choose higher vibratory states, well, you will choose higher vibratory states if you have unlocked your bottom three chakras.
Right. No, it's like, okay, choose to be healthy. Yeah, there's the choice, but then there's the action to get to where that choice is actually fruitful. Like, oh, I'm going to choose to be healthy as I'm sitting on the couch pounding Big Macs and potato chips and just, but that you're not actually making. You may think you're making the choice. Maybe this is a poor analogy, but you're not doing the work that leads up to where that choice is productive.
Well, yeah, but I want to say is this is not to assign blame. Some people simply don't even know what that work is.
I mean,
and I'm highlighting in this episode and the previous 116 of them, 115 of them.
Yeah.
That is what this is. That is what the work is willing to go and feel the uncomfortable trapped energy of your child short-circuiting because the nervous system, it just has you haywired because you have not addressed the core trauma that is trapped in the lower 3 chakras. And it's like, to some extent, see, and I'm judging here, but
you have opinions.
I do have opinions. I have opinions when people say things that are counterintuitive and counterproductive towards the thing that they actually say that they mean.
I want to get healthier.
No, like, oh, make sure you dive into the positive frequencies.
I know. I was doing like a easy 3D version of it.
Yeah, but when you say that, make sure you get healthier. I'm not saying that they are hypocritical. I'm actually saying is they say things, and the only reason that somebody would hear that is if they're not vibrating at the higher vibratory field. Right? Like if you see a thing on Instagram and they're like, oh my gosh, Earth is ascending right now. So make sure you choose higher frequency. Otherwise, you're going to be damned to the lower frequency. Because, there's a fear component. And then there are like the ascended people will be ascending to a higher vibratory frequency. And the people who choose the lower vibratory frequency will be not ascending.
A rapture, if you will.
Sure. I mean, but that's not any different from rapture. That's not any different from like heaven and hell. The story is the same. So you're inserting fear with that statement. But the chances are, if somebody hears that Instagram post, that means they are in need of hearing it because they're vibrating at the lower frequency, right? Because you're not on Instagram if you're vibrating at the higher frequency. So you're vibrating at the lower frequency, but then by you saying that inserts fear into this person, like, oh, fuck, well, I'm not at a vibratory frequency. I guess I'm not going to be ascending with Earth. And then you're instilling more fear and more trauma into that unprocessed trauma of that child to begin with. Instead is, hey, right now, whole bunch of things are coming up. Like the Earth is ascending to the point where all of the stuck vibratory frequency in the lower 3 chakras are going to be poking you. Great. Like, is that like the most amazing thing that everyone's experiencing right now? It's very positive. Because it means your soul is trying to get you to ascend. It's actually a good thing and not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And so because of that, here's the tool to get you to actually ascend into this higher vibratory field, as opposed to feel like you're drowning and you don't know what's happening, is draw awareness to the fact that your bottom 3 chakras are working really, really hard to release these trapped energies, to get your frequency naturally ascended, not as I have to, but it will just happen naturally. You don't have to fucking do anything.
Yeah.
It will just happen if you acknowledge that each trigger that you're experiencing right now that causes you to feel lower emotion is actually a good thing, because it gets you into that nervous system override. You're like, oh, look, my child is being poked. I'm willing to feel the trigger. I'm willing to acknowledge the fact that I feel discomfort and I'm judging that person. And I feel less than in comparison to them. And I feel like I want to yell at them because they're making me angry. All of those things are amazing because you go, look, the child feels unsafe.
Yeah. No, I mean, I try to look at triggers as positive things, as opportunities, as a light being shined on something that maybe I didn't know was there or still hurting. I don't always, but I do more and more. And that is how I try to look at that, because they are, on one hand, yeah, it sucks to be triggered. Sure. But that's not a productive mindset. You're going to be triggered. Guess what? We live on Earth. That's how it happens. But if you can reframe it into that, then you get to approach it differently. Instead of something to be avoided, something to be feared and avoided and oh, I don't want to deal with this, and how can I run away? It turns into, okay, while this may be acutely unpleasant in some ways, there is a amazing opportunity for growth and discovery and insight here, and it's going to happen anyway. So you may as well, embrace it.
Yeah, but when you were overridden,
I wasn't there when I was overridden. That's for sure.
So this is what I want to highlight. That is still you having some form of awareness because your nervous system is completely not short-circuiting.
Right.
But if your nervous system is short-circuiting, you're like, fuck, I'm just drowning. Like,
yeah, that's
the idea that there's such thing as love and light and normal heartbeat. And, in your case, I'm pooping normally. Like, that's not even part of the awareness. Like,
right.
I'm elsewhere right now because you will, right? If we have spent last 40 years living elsewhere, chances are, even if you're working hard at ascending your frequency and becoming aware, you will still trigger into elsewhere.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, this is a whole other form of reality, which is very low vibratory frequency,
right.
Which is fine. Again, the tool there is sit with it, accept it, because at that point, you're giving your trap child, it's your trap child that formed these shocks, these shockers that completely overrides without any cognitive thought when the child was trapped, right? Before you could process anything. So this is in your child mode. This is you're literally like, oh fuck, I don't know what to do. I'm a child. I don't even know how to process. The brain is not working. I'm just sitting there frozen. And it's either I want to run or I want to roll over, but deep down it's just freeze. It's just a freeze. And then you're just bouncing between the two extremes, right? So then what you can do is allow that feeling of the child to be your truth. Don't deny it. And then go, okay, child, let's do this together. Let's allow this feeling to flow and calmly sit and start breathing into the lower three chakras, one at a time, and then sooner or later join them together and start breathing into your stomach, start breathing into your sacrum, into your root, into your organs, like even dissected. Whenever I do guided meditations, not only do I go into the chakra system,
you go into specific organs.
I go into the organs within that chakra system. So intuitively, not only am I healing the energetic portion of the being, I'm also healing the physical interpretation of that being. You see, that's what's happening. So I'm addressing the physicality, and then I'm also addressing the energetic system. And both of those are true. Like, we are a three-dimensional being on the three-dimensional earth pretending to have a three-dimensional experience. So the physical organ of a kidney or a liver or small intestine, large intestine doesn't need to be addressed at the same time as you're addressing the let's say the solar plexus, right? Or the sacrum or the root.
Yeah. And
so, all of my meditations that I have recorded, I think most of them are just basically that. I start out with we ground, and then we go into propagation of chakras being addressed. You breathe, you're breathing in, you bring awareness into each chakra system, and you're clearing out the stuckness.
Yeah.
I get frustrated with this. And so with you, it's like, it's interesting to me. Like, some people would not even know that this is the case, right? That okay, nervous system short-circuiting.
Yeah.
I'm bypassing, and I think I'm going towards love and light, but I'm actually bypassing, and they don't even realize it.
Right. If they're even there.
If they're even there.
I maybe I'm pessimistic, but I think most people are just in a constant state of
short circuit. Yeah.
All day, every day.
Yeah. Most of the people are short circuiting.
I used to be in a near constant state of short circuit most of my life, which is, I genuinely am surprised I'm still alive. But I've had panic attacks in the past. Sure, drank a lot.
You had stones.
Gallbladder stones.
Yeah, your entire system was clogged up because nothing was moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you do not start doing spiritual awareness work, you'll be dead from all of that shit.
Right. So, I'm very grateful that I managed to survive my I'll call it previous life even though I'm a little surprised. But yeah, I think most people are probably somewhere around where I was. And that's, oh my God, it's exhausting. Every time we have some sort of, I think you'd feel the same way, have some sort of, I don't know if you're going to call it like a level up, but some sort of, quantum realization of like, oh, my worldview has completely shifted now. I look at how important everything used to seem. Oh my gosh, I've got to be. Work is so important, and we gotta have the fancy car, whatever it is. All this nonsense that seemed so important, and then something happens, and it's like it's just not. Then the weight that is lifted off of you is so apparent. And there's this immense feeling of calm and peace. And you're like, what was I thinking? I know people who have, near-death experiences and stuff have a very profound version of that. But I've had many through our spiritual journey, little quantum steps, where it's like, oh my gosh, I feel like I can shed all this previous nonsense in however that looks for that particular one. But yeah, I do think most people aren't there, unfortunately, because it's the more you can shed off you gain a lot of clarity, and you just feel a whole lot better, and you can actually sleep.
It's this is the thought that I had is lately, like we dove into like the real world a little bit more. Like we have someone who's in hospital right now dying, and like we usually don't dive into like 3-dimensional reality with like real people, I guess I would say. And the people that we do dive into usually is like during ceremonies and during cacao, which even though they might be real people, the second they come into a vibratory essence of like the intention of the event, the frequency rises up. Right. And so by default, I'm not addressing them in their real state. I'm addressing them at their higher point of awareness.
Right.
And so like we don't do much interaction with the real world.
Right.
And so you keep on saying like, I think majority of the people are in short circuit, and you might be right. Like, but like you said it twice now, and I'm like, are they? Are they?
I just see. It's dated, but my idea of real people is people that I go back to when I was sitting in an office. Everybody around me was like that.
Yeah, but the Earth has changed.
I know the Earth has changed,
then.
But
like you and I are not the same people.
I mean that
we
that
were
is
5 years
true.
ago, and we're not the same people we were 2 years ago. I mean, heck, I will probably listen to myself from a month ago and go, "Who the fuck is that idiot?"
Whenever I'm editing this, I'll be like, "Oh, look at that! Look how my I've edited podcasts, days, weeks, possibly even a month after we recorded it, and gone, I think I've evolved a little bit since that. Yes, I agree. I don't. Maybe I'm pessimistic. I hope I'm wrong, but it feels like most the people that I've worked with, it somehow feels that they're still right there.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I don't know because I don't. Who do I say? Hi, how are you today? To the to whoever checks us out at the grocery store, and that's like the extent of my interaction with real people. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It really, I think this more and more and more.
And everything we watch, a lot of the stuff we watch on the television is spiritually oriented stuff. So that's
like on Gaia,
Gaia
like
and
real
whatnot.
conversations. Yeah.
You know, if we
Yeah.
we turned on the news, it would
Yeah, we don't
be
watch
the
the
opposite,
news.
right?
Yeah. But, you know, there's a selection too of why you're watching the news if you're watching the news.
Yeah.
That's just a side note. Yeah, I don't know, right? We dove into this I use the word real world, but like to me it almost feels like old world. Like I don't know why. And we dove into it and I'm like, oh wow, like it's still there and it still has these same signatures. And then I guess to me it feels like I'm elsewhere. And so like to go into the old world, I guess I still look at it through my lens. Do you know what I mean? So even though it's the old world and maybe the people are the same, I still look at it through my new lens. So by default, the old world is even different because I'm observing it now more so than I am participating.
Oh, I guess to me, it's like a freeze frame stuck in time. And so all the people from my old world are how I remember them 5, 10 plus years ago.
But it's not a freeze frame.
No, I know it's not.
Right.
I know it's not, but I don't have any other data to go on. So
yeah, I don't know.
I'm like, I remember.
I mean, the data, the truth is the data is the lens in which you see the world.
Yeah. I acutely remember even then doing zero spiritual work going, oh, wow, these people are really deep in it. And I was deep in it, but they were deeper in it than me. I just remember thinking that about so many people around me in my various jobs and going, wow, that's a lot. So to me, it's just, I don't know. I hope they have found a path, but I don't know. So in my mind, they were starting out so far down here, and that's the freeze frame in my memories, and that's my sample size for all of Earth is people I used to work with. So it's horribly skewed, statistically inaccurate, but that's what's coloring my pessimism.
And I guess the few beings that you still keep in touch with are exactly the same, if not worse.
Yeah, I suppose that's true too.
But, you know, I think they're worse because that mindset that you saw them having back, you know, let's say 20 years ago when you were employed in the corporate world is what caused them to be stuck. And that same stuckness has like the crankshaft has like tightened the grip. You know, the vice has tightened.
Yeah.
Over the especially last 5 years since COVID, right? But it was already tightening even before that.
Mm.
But since 2019, right? Like that vice grip is tightening and tightening because it's trying to push for you to release the lower 3 chakras. So everybody's being poked to the nth degree. And if you're being poked and poked and poked and poked and basically having to produce enough energy to deny the discovery and the feeling, you're like, okay, you know, basically it's like a little scalpel slowly slicing through the layers of your density between your 3 lower chakras. And you're like over there, like trying to sew it up as quick as possible, right? Like, so it doesn't leak out. So you don't feel it. So you don't feel it. You don't feel it. Right.
Yeah.
And like, that's a lot of work. So the amount of action you have to take to constantly be sewing more and more and quicker produces that like frantic, redonkulous energy that is very uncomfortable to be around.
Yeah.
Right. And so, you know exactly who I'm talking about, but the brushstroke is that is what's necessary in order not to awaken. The amount of influx you have to have about the world and amount of things you have to be doing in order to distract yourself from this unraveling of your lower 3 chakras has to amplify more and more and more, the more the vice grip is squeezing this trauma out of you. Because your higher self is always pulling you, okay, let's start letting go of some of this trauma. Let's start letting go of some of this blindness. Let's become aware of your larger goal of self. But if you're just spending all of your time trying not to, you have to add on a lot of stuff on top to try to cover up and pretend like there's not things coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like, to me, that's just like really uncomfortable to be around and to even think about. Like, it's uncomfortable to think about the idea that somebody has to do that much work in order not to feel.
Yeah. No, I mean, because I know how much work it takes not to feel, having done that most of my life.
Yeah, that's nauseating to me.
Right. It's exhausting.
But it's nauseating to think about that somebody's choosing that, right?
Yeah.
And I know I'm judging,
right.
and I'm not
But,
actually judging.
but
I'm just not truly nauseous about it.
I admit that I choose that from time to time. That when I just the other day had my episode, that was a choice to
bury it,
right? Yeah, a complete, yeah, right. So and again, it's like, it doesn't feel good at the time. It doesn't feel good right now, knowing that, I just did it. But I can look at it as a learning opportunity at the same time and have
but what are you going to
do
do different next time?
Hopefully I can, pause and not short circuit, or if I do catch it and force myself to pause. Like, there's some, continuum of how intense that trigger is, and beyond which we call that a short circuit. And below that, okay, that's manageable, right? We know how those minor triggers are, and we can deal with those. But to catch those major triggers, if you want to call it that, and even if you do short circuit, just you need some, I guess, physical technique to, okay, look at this, I'm losing it. I need to just go sit down for a little bit, regain my composure in order to, and then, then it falls down into the minor trigger state, and then you can work with it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's funny to me to see you go through the same stuff over and over and over.
It's funny to me too.
I don't know why you choose it so much.
I don't know either.
Like, from the larger standpoint, I know I asked you this before, but I was like, what is the desire to repeat the cycle so much? Like, I think there's this deeper desire to repeat it over and over. And I don't know if it's like an addiction to the familiarity, and then therefore there's some comfort in it, and there's a comfort in the nervous system short circuit. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, nothing about that was comfortable.
But it's it's desire
but
to
at the same
relive
time, I understand
the
this.
familiar.
I understand there is a familiarity with it, because that was there so much.
Is a desire to relive the familiar?
I don't know, because it was unpleasant in every sense of the word. I don't know.
I mean, right, from the very deep standpoint of evaluation, there's just that. If your soul self keeps on going through the same experience, but you have enough awareness and the tools to know what to do, but you're still choosing to go through that means it's still trapped and still not being addressed. But then why not address it to the depth? Like, is this a new stage of addressing, or is this simply like the desire to stay in the same stage?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think I've had something that has triggered me like that in a good while. Not that I can think of. So it was like, oh wow. Even as I'm in the middle of it, I'm like, wow, this is a lot, and this kind of sucks. And wow, I used to be here a lot. And this utter lack of, what do I even do? What do I do at every level of do? How do I address the issue, and how do I address the issue?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I don't know. I mean, obviously I needed that for some reason. And maybe it's just to make it obvious that, I feel like I know what the tool is now if that happens again. It is like, okay, because I recognize I am out of control in some sense. I recognize that. Which is really, really weird to recognize that and still be out of control.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like not that I'm necessarily inviting it, but I'm sure it'll happen again if it needs to happen again. If it does, I think I would be like, oh, okay, look at this. Here it is again. It is time to calm down. And only after I, calm down, then I can really deal with it. Because you can't deal with it at that, up there at that level, down there at that level.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. Like human experience is so finicky.
It's so weird how automatic so much of our response, so much of our life is. It's just like subconscious driven. Whether that's, driving down the street, it's like you're not, yeah, you are actively driving, I suppose, but it's not that active. It's really quite a passive thing, especially when you're like, oh, wait, where did the last 20 miles go? Type of thing. It is the opposite of, so much of our life is the opposite of presence. And that incident was the opposite of presence.
Yeah. But I think about this. It was the opposite of presence, but at the same time, your higher self was still watching the shit show.
I was present at that level, although
everybody's always present at that level. So there is a way to tune into your vibratory field at that level and then observe everything.
Yeah. And hopefully override it.
Well, it's not overriding. You could choose to experience it.
Yeah, but
with an awareness. Like when I have an earthly experience, the ideal form is for me to experience it with awareness that this is what this experience is.
And the goal, yes. I don't mean the goal is I don't want to feel bad per se. It isn't to avoid feeling bad, but it's to go, oh, look, I am losing, I've lost it and I'm out of control. I'm literally out of control. And go, okay, I would like to bring myself back into control. So that then I can, actually deal with what's going on again at all the various levels of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. Like, I guess, where I get triggered whenever I have these expressions, into consciousness, I guess. It feels so like, the system is designed very simply. Like our 3-dimensional interpretation of reality is like the most rudimentary form of expression, right? And so like I you and I talked about it a couple of days ago, but how you love to dissect everything and like and there's all these nuance and there's all these right like you're like, oh,
all the way up and all the way down.
Yeah, there's just dissection and there's this like,
Categorization
and just
integration and disintegration and all that. Yeah.
All of this, right? And I'm like, that is such a intense diversification or dive into humanism. Then to me, it seems, I guess, interesting, the desire to take something that is extremely simple and is like the simplest form of operation and then like make it complex. Like the thing is, it's not complex. You make it complex.
I guess I don't feel like it's making it complex. I feel like it's looking at it in opening up different levels to understand and even appreciate it. Like we can go, okay, this is a podcast setup. And then we can go down to, okay, and this is a microphone. And, okay, one side of the microphone, there's the little condenser thing and the chip. You can go all the way down and or you can go up, and then there's a house and a neighborhood and an earth and universe. Like that ladder of up and down has always been really fascinating to me. And I know it's a super left brain thing. And, engineer, I get all that. I don't know. I don't view that as a negative thing.
No, I don't say it's a negative. What I'm saying is you want to have a very visceral, dissected experience of interpretation of Earth. And to me, it's just like one system and one arc, and everything is super transparent and super clear and super explainable, and there's no complication to it, any of it. And so like the dichotomy between your desired Earth experience and my desired Earth experience are so vastly different now that, like we're having this conversation and I'm like, it might as well be a duplicate of all 115 episodes before.
We said that before we started.
Yeah, I know. And so to me, like, I'm just duplicating, I'm repeating everything that we have said, period, ever before, but, including the podcast. Like, we're just repeating patterns. Like, to me, it's a repeating pattern. And then, so you wanting to dissect and dive in is, and having this same lost short circuit experience is the desire to repeat a pattern.
Yeah.
And I see it all as the desire to repeat a pattern, like a choice to repeat a pattern. And to me, I'm like, wow, like, I don't think this is I think it is desire to stay in a three-dimensional dive of earthly systems. And I just question why. Like, and that is your earthly experience, and that's fine. But like, I guess to me, like once I see the pattern and once I see the cycle, I'm done with that cycle.
So, some things, I guess it depends. You remember that game that we played with the numbers and you combine the numbers into bigger numbers and whatever.
Yeah. But the second I figured out that's the cycle.
Same with me. Once I figured out, oh, this game literally never ends. You can just keep going and the numbers just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And there's no way to lose the game because you can just play the game less efficiently. You can be combining tens when you could be combining thousands over here, right?
So you're still playing the cycle of Earth.
Once I solved the game was boring.
Okay, so you just haven't solved Earth yet.
Maybe I just haven't solved Earth yet.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know what solved means, but
it's, like in the long run, it's a game and it's a puzzle.
It is a game and it's a puzzle, and I love games and I love puzzles and looking at things at different levels. Sometimes it's fun to look at this is a microphone and that's the end of it. And sometimes it's fun to look at this as its constituent pieces and imagine the little signals going across the wires. And they both have different times when that is fun or that is useful.
Yeah, but in that case, you're not drowning in dissecting of a microphone.
Right.
I'm only talking about the aspects where you choose to continue to drown.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
I actively do not want to drown. I just actively drowned a couple of days ago, and it was vastly unpleasant. unpleasant.
No, it's
Both.
probably unpleasant.
And I don't want to do that. I'm glad it happened because it was really eye-opening. The whole experience was very eye-opening into how easy it is to fall into that, and then how easy it should be to get out of it. I think it really shouldn't be that difficult to get out of it. As I go on down this path, it does feel like there are fewer and fewer things. On the triggerometer scale, here's 0 to 100, and these are the low-level ones that are manageable, and 101 and up is major. I'm going to short circuit. All the triggers have gotten lower on the number, and so while yes, this was a 500, let's say, it would have been a 10,000.
Yeah,
and so it feels I genuinely believe that it is progress in seeing them for what they are and feeling them for what they are.
I mean, Earth will bring you through another cycle of the same thing to give you an opportunity to do something different quicker.
Right.
Or to not even dive into that.
I did actively see this as an opportunity to do things differently, which is why I said, now I feel like I've got these, these poles of options. Whereas in the past, I would have had one option. And now my other option is, instead of I'll just do it, the other option is screw you, go away. So I did see, look at this. And now I have, the freeze up was, now I have two options, two completely opposite options. Instead of I don't have any options, I'm going to go into my fugue state because I'm being steamrolled and I don't want to. So it was a new fugue state. Yay. But that's beautiful in its own way. Mm-hmm. It was really, really apparent. This is some new me who is not just going to do this. But at the same time, I knew at some level that just doing this is also the wrong thing to do. But I was in either or mode. These are the two options and there's nothing in between. And I logically knew that there's something in between, but I could not tell you what it was at that time. Literally anything else is in between. Anything else is in between. But
yeah, very visceral. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
Yep.
Done?
I suppose so.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.